Hello and welcome to the Two Robbies podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, he's Robbie Earle, and here are today's topics. Crystal Palace. Yes, Crystal Palace wins the FA Cup, the first major trophy in the club's history, defeating Manchester City 1-0 at Wembley. Aston Villa, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest all win, putting pressure on their rivals in the chase for the Champions League. Arsenal officially clinches their Champions League place with a win over Newcastle. And Everton says goodbye to Goodison Park with a win over Southampton. That's what we have coming up in today's episode. Mr. Earle.
Okay, Mr. Mustoe. I'm going to start you off with the Saturday domestic cup final, the FA Cup that we've both known, both played in,
and
both
love.
Love. You can't love the FA Cup anymore. It felt like a classic FA Cup, a bit of an underdog with Crystal Palace with all the fans there, a bit of a big team, Big Six team with City who've been there many times and probably wouldn't have seen it as quite a big achievement. And the underdogs came out on top, my friend.
They did.
It kind of feels like one of those seasons when you look back to Newcastle beating Liverpool and Crystal Palace beating Manchester City, and you know there's something for those. Nottingham Forest having the run they've had. There's something for these smaller teams who.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be like that. I long for the days when every club in the Premier League dreamt about and thoroughly enjoyed winning the FA Cup.
But
and
that's not going to happen now, is it?
Well, but it's a shame. No, you're right, but it's a shame, isn't it? It's sad, isn't it?
Oh, for sure.
You know, you look back and over the last 2 decades, is it slowly the FA Cup's got a little less important with
European football.
The European football, the importance of that of the Champions League.
And the money, the revenue.
But FA Cup, and it was a little bit of a throwback for me, it was, of dreams and people dreaming, the celebration and the amount of Crystal Palace fans there, by the way, Rob. The amount of Crystal Palace fans there compared to Man City shows you what it meant to Palace.
Absolutely.
And I'm so pleased that they won it. In a classic attack v defence, where one team in Man City are dominating possession, not creating much, by the way, and Crystal Palace quickly go up the other end and score on their first foray into Man City's half, and that was the winning goal from Eze.
Is there something in that possession used to be king? Possession was everything. Are we getting to a stage where possession doesn't have to be everything? And if a team are well set up, I mean, if there was a typical Crystal Palace goal, it was the goal that they scored. Munoz, who we know is a very clever player.
Really good, yeah.
Eze's the informed, probably forward on the pitch, makes good runs, comes in where maybe fullbacks are out of position because they've gone on the counter-attack. You know, Nottingham Forest have had a season of doing a very similar type thing. Is there a way that teams can look at the Big Six and go, yeah, you can have the ball, but as long as you don't hurt me, as long as that doesn't turn into too many chances and too many goals, we can survive, win, prosper?
I don't know about the top 6, certainly Man City. Because Man City's football is so slow and patient build-up, teams can really... They're forced to pack it in.
City open you up, don't they? They find a way to open you up.
So back to your first question. I'm not sure there's anything that's changed in football per se. But good football in whatever system or style you want still wins. So when Man City play like that, slow, patient, they have to be really good, sharp and clever and incisive to win games because teams do what Palace do. So when they're not at their best, like now,
then
they're not as effective. And same with counter-attacking football. You know, you could say some teams try and play counter-attacking football. They got no pace on it. I mean, Everton, for example, under Sean Dyche were very defensive, and pretty strong, but nothing going forward. So any style can be weak or can be strong. And right now, in this game, we saw a strong... I mean, park the bus is a bit of a harsh, but a very defensive posture from Palace in a really good way. Structured, strong, defensively. Chris Richards, before I forget later on, deserves a mention. Any aerial balls that came in towards Earle and Haaland, he was strong and nodded them away. The protection from the midfield, 4 in front of the 5. So structured and very strong. And it was a day where City's penetration wasn't great. De Bruyne is not quite as effective now, and they struggle to break down a resilient Crystal Palace team.
I'm going to go an early shout here. My underappreciated performer of the week.
Palace player?
And it's not a Palace player. It's a Palace manager. Oliver Glasner, my friend. Oliver Glasner, who has changed history at this great
made
little
history,
football.
yeah.
He's made history. This great little football club that has had some great moments, has produced some great players and some great scenes at Selhurst Park. I know Selhurst Park well, but it's never won a major trophy. This guy's gone into that football club and in the space of, 3 years, turned it round. Not least because, let me say, he's playing a 3-4 sort of 2-1 system.
Yeah.
A certain Mr. Ruben Amorim's been brought into a football club and can't get a tune out of it.
Well, yeah.
And this guy...
So the system works, by the way.
The system
doesn't it?
can work.
It can
and
work,
a new manager coming in can change the outlook of JP... And I'm going to go through Matata and Sarr and Eze and Munoz and Gay and Richards and all these players, Rob. And Wharton, by the way, who's incredible.
Good signings again.
Yeah,
the club recruit well.
Good signings. And Dougie Friedman, I think, who's left the club moment.
Yeah.
He has to take a lot of credit. What I'm saying is, Rob, a system where players look $1 million. You could sell 3, 4, 5 of those for $50, $60 million.
And they turned down £70 million for Mark
Gay.
Yeah. Fair play to turn that down.
Absolutely. And all of a sudden, this guy's got a tune. They know what they're doing. They look happy. They look united. And, I've got one of my best friends, Mark Bright, who's at Crystal Palace, and I always, asked him a bit about Glasgow, and he said, over the last month, Oliver Glasner has been saying to everybody in the football club, players, staff, auxiliary, coaches, we've got to stop accepting failure. We've got to become winners. And it's as though it's something he's been drummed in. And he said from the start, we'll win this game. We can win this game against Manchester City. There was a belief about the group. And I turned on Saturday morning and watched all the pre-game and everything.
I love it too.
And you know what? As I was watching Rob, I thought, I fancy Palace today.
It was lovely, and I want to rewind on the game in a second, but just back to some of the people that we saw. Alan Smith, Stevie Coppell, your mate Mark Bright. Different Gareth Southgate was in the stand. Former Palace players and managers. Don't you love that when they want to go back and see special games? It meant something to them, and they've all been part of the history.
And by the way, that was also the club making sure that they were there, Rob. It was the club reaching out to them and saying, it's a big day, we want you as part of it. It helped the time. And just before you get to the game we had a friend there, actually.
I don't know who you're talking about. This is all very hush-hush, isn't it? Because we're all mega neutral in our world.
We're all mega neutral, but somebody's blue and red and glad all over. And at the moment, Danny will be very glad all over.
There's Cloud 9 is up there somewhere.
She's up.
She's sat on there with her family.
Couldn't have happened. To a nice woman who's supported her team through thick and thin.
Gosh.
She's talked about going to games with her dad when she was this high.
Yeah, I know.
And seen Palace. And listen, it's not always an easy watch when your team have been up and down in the Premier League, when they've got to cup finals and not got over the line. I'm sure it's easy to go, but it's never dwindled. The love for the club continues. She's shouting Palace in our ears every
weekend.
Minute of every weekend that Palace are playing.
Yeah, and it's so great she was there, Rob. So great that she was there with her son, with her dad, with her husband, with great friends, great memories. And I know her husband, I'm sure many of our listeners and viewers and stuff follow Rebecca on Instagram. And the video of her winning the final whistle with the fist pumping into the air, that's about as real as
when everybody else was sitting down in the posh seats and not doing that stuff. That was the Crystal Palace fan of 35 years, 40 years coming out of it.
And literally a dream coming true right there. And you could see it in her eyes, with her eyes welling up, hugging her son and her husband right there. I just thought that was like, wow, that's kind of powerful, and that's what the FA Cup's all about. Absolutely. And that's what it is, and that's what we all did. Whether you're a fan, whether you're young kids like me and you watching it with our parents and dreaming about playing in it, being lucky enough to play in it, sadly lost it, but memorable occasion, and it's a good, I mean, we, of course we missed it this weekend in the studio, but that's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime situation to be there, an opportunity to be there.
Those are memories, mate, for her dad.
Forever.
For her, for her son.
Generations,
will be forever.
3 generations,
It'll be forever. So delighted for her. Oliver Glasner, my underappreciated performer of the week.
Well, I like it. I mean, he's been very calm, well-spoken throughout. There is, as anybody does well in the Premier League, there's talk about others being interested in him and who, in the future, maybe in the future. But what a great job he's done. But let's rewind.
The Mustoe but.
Because there's always a but. Dean Henderson. Well done.
Excellent game. Well done, Dino.
Saved a penalty from Omar Mamouche.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done, Dino.
But there was a situation where he was outside the penalty box in an onrushing towards goal, Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
He realises, oops, I need to get to the ball. This is dangerous, but I'm outside the box. Swats the ball away.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much, if any, of a touch from Erling Haaland.
Yeah, that's the debate.
The game paused.
Yeah.
And the Crystal Palace fans went very quiet because that possibly could have been denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity as known as Dogso. The referee was no call on that, and the VAR looked at it and said no call.
Yeah, it was a VAR decision. It was a VAR decision. I think partly because as the ball got played through, Rob, I don't think the referee could actually see whether it was in or out. It was one of them where he wasn't sure, so he didn't.
You're right.
Which is right. Which is the right
so
thing to do.
So then the VAR
takes over and goes, well, he has handled it. He's taken it away. It wasn't so much where he'd handled it, it was what he stopped. It was that he denied did he deny Erling Haaland the obvious goal-scoring opportunity? Now, the word from VAR was that there was nothing conclusive to say it was an obvious chance.
But also, the description was the ball's going away from goal.
Well, because the ball's going away from goal, and there was other defenders back, that wasn't an denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Now,
the initial ball was slightly going away.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't handle it, and Haaland's allowed to play the ball,
he might just nick it past him.
And the goalkeeper's out of his goal.
Yeah.
And there might have been a defender coming back.
It was a tough call.
It was a real...
In fairness, Palace got a bit lucky.
I think they got lucky.
Palace got a bit lucky. The goalkeeper's come up with a brilliant save after and all that, and City, took it on the chin and, didn't get the goal and were magnanimous in defeat. But you're right. I think another day, another VAR decision. But do you know what? It's part of the story.
It's part of the story. And VAR have made mistakes throughout the season.
So in 100 years' time, there'll be Palace fans who are saying, what? Dean Henderson, what?
Yeah.
We won the FA Cup final against
Man City. And it wasn't super clear-cut. So there was some debate in it. I just looked at it a few times. I read a few people that I respect in this world that were very surprised that it wasn't given. But I mean, by the way, even if it would have done, it still doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't mean that.
Who knows if they would have gone on and found a way through Palace, who defended brilliantly. So that was just something I think we should have mentioned during this, and just generally on Man City, Rob, there were some words from Erling Haaland that I didn't really like leading up to this game. Yeah, talking about
being a horrific
season. It's been boring. The
dressing room feels to me, Rob, like it needs a complete freshen up and reset. Feels like there's few people maybe rubbing this out up each other in bad ways. I heard De Bruyne talking again after, and he wasn't, obviously he's leaving the football club. It doesn't seem like it's on the best terms in the way. He was talking about, I might turn up in the Premier League, who knows. There was just a few things. There was a frustration about the team and a few of the personalities.
It was an uber attacking lineup.
Yeah, he went for it, didn't he?
And
Kovacic was injured, so he had to go Bernardo Silva. He was saying,
next to De
Bruyne against an athletic sort of Palace team.
But then again, I suppose they still had those of the ball, and he wanted.
Yeah, if you have possession, then that's what you're looking at.
But it just shows you against Pep's Man City, if you're defending, if you've got all those people, it's just not easy to break down.
Yeah.
And Doku looked lively and bright, and they had a chance to with a penalty. Anyway, it all comes out in the wash, and the reality is the Crystal Palace are FA Cup champions, and that's amazing for them. And Man City, Rob, just to finish up, we've talked so much about Man City this season and what might happen. There was a few comments around the game and stuff that I listened to, and it is the same comment is. Can Pep bring this around? Are we assuming with the summer, with 2 or 3 new first-team players?
More players, because they've spent that money in the window, mate.
They spent a little bit. They spent a little bit. There's will be more to spend in summer. Roger will be back.
Yeah.
Is it out? In terms of a percentage chance, right, that Man City in the next 2 years win the Premier League title again? Do you think that your percentage something like 80, 90, or is it?
It's not as high as, for me. It's not as high as some people think. I think this thing could be 2 or 3 years getting back to that. So I'm saying,
but he ain't gonna stay around for that, Rob.
Well, I'm saying,
he ain't gonna stay around for that.
I'm just saying how long it might take. If he's not in charge, then I'm sure at some point they'll be looking at someone else. I'm talking closer to 60 or 70. than I am
in
to
the next
80
2
or 90.
years.
In the next
yeah,
2
I think
years.
I'm 60, 65.
I just don't think you change some of these great champions out. You bring new players in, and it goes bang. We're right back on it.
Right.
It takes Pep a moment to
Also,
play.
considering some of the other teams.
Yeah, they're getting better.
Liverpool going to spend money.
Stronger.
Arsenal going to spend money.
Newcastle.
Chelsea want another striker.
Aston Villa. All
I know.
those teams that were below. So, listen, interesting. Big challenge for Pep.
Yeah.
We talk about him being the best in the business. Kind of a little bit different look where he's going to have to do a bit like Sir Alex has done. Show us another iteration of it. Show us again. Sir Alex probably did it 3, almost 4 times in his role. Now,
over a long period of time. It's difficult.
Yeah. So,
but well done, Palace, eh? Crystal Palace.
It's all about glad all
the
over.
The supporters were amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
well
amazing.
Stevie Parish and was a fan who bought the club in difficult times, Rob, where they could have gone out of business. And he put money up, and he got backers, and he's got things right.
Dougie Friedman with that recruitment, they picked the right man. They're big caller for getting rid of Roy Hodgson.
They take real care of their football club, man.
Yeah.
They take care of their football club, and that's not easily said. So well done, Palace.
Brilliant, Palace.
Congratulations. Yeah. Let's move to the Premier League, my friend, where the top and the bottom things have been done in terms of titles and relegations. But the race for Champions League, my friend, is becoming a race for the ages.
So let's just go through Fridays. Goodbye day, I guess, Robbie. On Friday, Aston Villa beat Tottenham 2-0. Chelsea beat Man United 1-0.
I was working on these games with Danny.
Yeah. So Man United, stronger team. Spurs, weaker team. We know that they meet in the Europa League Cup final.
So both of these obviously had eyes on the Europa League, Robin. It was against 2 teams with Champions League ambitions.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, both games had a similar tone. Aston Villa's football in the end got them where they needed to do. Spurs were okay. There's definitely
they started off lively, didn't they?
Yeah.
I saw extended highlights of these games.
15 minutes and had a go, but Villa wore them down. Villa's quality, ability to make changes from the bench is big for Villa, and it was an important win, and it was. I thought for Villa, like if they lose that one to Spurs, it's going to knock the stuffing out of them. I think it just gives them hope that they've got a chance now.
They really have got a chance, and we'll go over that sort of summary when we've chatted the games. Chelsea, Marc Cucurella pops up again. We've had him as underappreciated performer in the past, by the way.
He would have been closer again.
He's got a few goals on it. I mean, that's a right few goals. But this isn't just him coming forward willy-nilly from left back. No, there's a plan there.
Yeah, and he talked about it, Maresca, that they work on it at times. Yeah. And Reece James, by the way, if ever you saw the day of Reece James's quality, it was that day, Rob.
And the decision, right? When I see him spin turning
360,
there, it was a moment of, in his head he's thinking, this is, and this is going at it's super slow motion. I can cross this. And there's a little surprise element in what I've just done. Yeah. I bet the defenders aren't set. Yeah. And there's a good chance that we'll have people running in there. I'm going to clip it.
He just hit an area as well.
He hit an area.
He didn't aim for anyone. Don't by any means think he's looking for Cucurella. He's hit an area knowing that people are going to read it. If you watch Garnacho, who was defending him on that 360, Garnacho ends up going for a hot dog.
Yeah, I know.
He's about 3 yards away. He turns away.
But the spin almost opened him up to the cross. And I also think it was a moment in time where defenders aren't quite sure, what's he doing now?
You couldn't read him,
and before you know it,
his body didn't allow you to read what he was going to do.
And before you know it, he's flicked it in there. It's like, it was just a brilliant cross. Brilliant bit of intelligent football play from him. And a good header.
I've got to say, though, Rob, and I do want to make the point, that I thought for about an hour, it's some of the best football I saw Manchester United play. I thought they were good, mate. I thought they knitted their football together. They were quite aggressive. Mason Mount was getting on the ball and making things happen.
The width was available to the wing-backs pretty good, which is what he wants.
Diallo was out there. Mazraoui tends to go inside. It kind of looked not bad. And then they get the goal, and all of a sudden it goes the other way. But it was interesting. I thought maybe 8 or 9 of the players who played against Chelsea might start in the Europa League. I thought that's how strong he went, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, but I kind of like what he did there.
Because he said this time, didn't he? He said these 5 days between now and
But why didn't Tottenham? Why did they? Well, horses for courses. Maybe they got more. They're more banged up.
So I heard Anne say, "I'm not taking any risks,"
and that's okay
as
well.
I get it. Because if he'd have played and somebody gets injured, Rob, I mean, his job could be on the line in the Europa League.
So they're more desperate.
Correct. Correct.
for
he has
trophy,
to win.
which they are.
Yeah, he has to win the
definitely. He's got. I mean, yeah.
Or there could be no rope left for him.
I think we must have done 30 odd podcasts, right? And every single podcast, I think we said, "Does Ange go if they win?" Or I mean, I think if they win it,
I think he might stay.
I think he stays, doesn't he? Just to take him into the Champions League. They got.
People are talking about the Ten Hag situation, but I think we've seen enough better football from Ange's team when good days. No, it hasn't all been, but good days.
There's been a lot of bad days.
Let's see. And do you know what, Robin? In a strange way, and United fans aren't going to like me for this, I kind of hope Spurs win. Because I'd like Ange to be given time to have another look.
It's funny, you watch him in the Europa League and stuff, and you're like, fair play. You know, you're in the final.
Yeah.
Then you watch him in the Premier League, and it's literally like, you can't stay. The guy can't stay. But if they win it, you know, to take a club that's desperate for silverware, to win something, and then get rid of him. I don't know. I think that he should be, because there'll be an open top bus, there'll be celebrations.
It's a cup, isn't it? It's a cup, and it's Champions League, and it's the revenue. But I tell you what, I heard an interesting journalist ask Ruben Amorim about Champions League and Europe, and winning it obviously is his aim. But if he doesn't, is the silver lining that he gets to work more time with his players during the week and gets more work into them, so he gets them better off, because he doesn't get the time. It's interesting that Amorim went, that's an interesting point, because I do need to get the work in.
Yeah, because that's it. This is their only chance for European football.
Yeah,
it is interesting. I'd love to see Manchester United buy a few players, though. You know, I think we're so uncertain about the club, though, aren't we? We're so uncertain about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and how he's doing this money-wise. But I don't know what is going to come in. There's talk there isn't much money available. They got to sell some. Because all the Man United fans want is a few new players that know that are going to be good in his system, and let's see some steady improvement. Because you know, there's got to be something next season where you know, from the first few weeks where it's like, this looks a little bit better. This looks a little better. That's.
Fortunately, we get to see them in the Premier League Summer Series, so we'll get a little look at them behind the scenes and maybe one or two things. Just before we move on, because we will get to the team, just in terms of that Europa League and it's going to play Wednesday, we'll talk about it maybe next weekend.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Between 16th and 17th in the Premier League, who's better suited?
I have no idea.
My head would say Manchester United.
Yeah, just through experience,
history, experience.
Why are we saying that? All the players
they can have good one days. We've seen it against Liverpool.
So can Spurs have good one days?
Yeah, and Spurs can. But Spurs are the team that universally don't get it done, don't get over the line. But my heart kind of says that of the two clubs, I think Spurs have got a better team and play better football. A good day from Spurs
is better than a good day.
I agree with that. From Manchester
I agree
United.
with that. And I tell you what, we've seen in the Europa League from Tottenham is that they're a bit more pragmatic, a little bit more like, you know what, we're like, it is really, really important, and they've been more defensive, more counter-attacky, which is going to help them. Sadly, I know it's not the way that Ange wants to play, but if he's open and expansive, they're definitely more of a threat. But if they don't use that positivity and attacking approach and score, I mean, they're left so wide open. They're so wide open defensively. So I don't know. It's going to be a fun game, mate. I mean, Europa League, we kind of watch it, but I'm really going to watch this. This is going to be an amazing, because of the impact it has on those football clubs.
Consequences to both the football clubs. Big consequences,
brilliant.
mate.
Yeah, can't wait.
Big consequences. Okay, let's get back to the show. Let's get to Premier League action. We saw this game today, West Ham and Nottingham Forest. Kind of felt to me, Rob, must win for Forest. The week that they've had, the Taiwo Awoniyi stuff, the injury to him, stomach injury, and thankfully he's
recovering.
On the man recovering, but some difficult times for him and the football club. The manager, the owner, and Nuno stuff that has been blown up a little bit out of proportion. Too much proportion in some respects. But Forest, Rob, got the job done in the end. I thought they were good today.
Brilliant today.
I thought they were good today. I thought the spotlight was on, a bit of pressure on, and it's like, are they just going to run out of steam? I thought they were really good today.
I enjoyed them today. I mean, we've watched them the last few weeks, and I felt like the pressure of expectation of, wow, this is really happening. Like we could be in the Champions League. It was, I don't know whether it weighed on them. Did they play within their heads? I saw a Nottingham Forest team today that played they're out of their heads.
Free, weren't they?
Free.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Forest today, and I think I've certainly said in the past, Rob, that they're at their best. And it's maybe true when they're at the very best, when they're counter-attacking.
Yeah.
But this wasn't a counter-attacking performance.
No.
Which I thought it might be. They dominated the ball. They were
better than West
super
Ham.
sharp. They were sharp in all areas. Two players I thought were absolutely outstanding, particularly in the first half, was Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White.
Gibbs-White.
Those two players ran all over West Ham United's two midfield. And we know that West Ham's central midfield area, Guido Rodriguez and James Ward-Prowse. There are a lot of things, but they can't match the power of those two. I just thought Forest were really proactive, really strong going forward, looked dangerous. Elanga played up front in a different position than what we expected. So much better, so much better. Question to you, is it because that they are all of a sudden kind of now the underdogs again? And the expectations drifted away from Forest and they're playing out of their head.
Because they're still in it. I
but the ones before were like, go on then, and they're like, how do we do it? And now because their expectations are not going to do it, they went out there and played their normal game.
Do you know what? I've been against this kind of little Forest and it's against them. Do you know what? Today it was on them and they've shown that they have a football and have a style that
when they're out of their heads, they're playing freely. That looks really, really good. Yeah. But they haven't played like that, Rob, for the last few weeks.
To a certain degree. But I thought, listen, it was on them today, Rob, and I know they got out of their heads and they found a way. Their football was good. They started well. I don't know if the Awani thing sometimes pulls
galvanise them a little bit.
Galvanise that locker room. Come on, let's do it for the big guy. He could have been terrible things happening. Real trouble. I thought the manager's got to take a bit of praise for what's gone on in the week and whatever. They look well set up. They look well at the game. They were miles better than West Ham. I mean, West Ham's a subject for another day. I mean, massive summer for them, Rob, and Graham Potter.
They had a rally up in the second half. They made some changes.
Yeah, they did. When
they get a lovely goal from Joe Bowen. Bowen scores that goal, and Forest, to be fair, were kind of hanging on a little bit at the end.
I mean, by the way, and I'm not going to go there, I don't know what the referee was doing in that game.
Oh, my goodness.
He lost control. Look, was it Sam Barrett?
Sam Barrett.
Sam Barrett. Well, he's played 10 minutes of extra time, and then he's put a couple of more minutes on because of one VAR, one substitution. And then you can see that it's getting a little bit...
Yeah, tetchy.
Blow the whistle.
Said, blow the whistle. Game's over. Yeah. Which it was over.
Because he let it run for another 3 minutes, everybody pushing and shoving, giving yellow cards. Coaches getting yellow cards. So he gives Forrest the ball, he lets him kick up, he blows the whistle. I mean, some of the worst inexperience.
So basically the game was up, and yet he wanted to... I mean, it was incredible. And sadly, mate, and it pains me to say this, semi-automatic offside technology was unavailable. The report is unavailable.
Have we not paid this month's instalment for semi-automatic?
I guess there was too many bodies in a line for the cameras to see everybody.
Maybe we don't need the whole of May, and they've only paid for half of May, and they need to pay a little more.
I'm so disappointed because I thought this was going to be so
it took,
great.
5-6 minutes? One the Milenko.
It was at least 5 minutes. The second goal hits his back, and there's a lot of people in a line.
Dominguez was in off.
His foot
looked offside, but he didn't really affect any of the defenders. Right. I mean, it was a pretty easy call if that's all they were looking at.
I'd rather them just forget the technology, have a look at the screen.
Yeah.
Is it kind of tight? Yeah, it's good. Like, just do it by the eye. Do it by eye.
Move on from referees.
All right, we've been pretty good. We haven't had too many problems, but that was
great win for Forest.
Well done.
At home
well done,
to Chelsea.
Yeah, they're at home to Forest to Chelsea. Absolutely right. Are we at that point where we can summarise this?
We're at Arsenal-Newcastle, my friend.
Go on, let's do that, and then we'll look at the race.
So, Arsenal second, Newcastle third. Newcastle beaten them 3 times already this season. There's been a little bit of competition on the touchline between Eddie and Mikel Arteta. I wouldn't say they're best of friends.
Don't mind that. Yeah, we don't mind that.
Absolutely don't mind it. Decent test this for both teams. I thought Newcastle, Rob, with this 3 at the back system, forward midfield.
First half, mate. First half
was excellent.
Really good.
And to the point that we've both been saying that, does Eddie need to find a different way with this Newcastle team? I'm wondering, is this a different way? More controlled, good structure, fits a lot of the pieces that they've got. So Murphy can still be in the side, playing from a right side. Livramento from a left, but he goes in narrow and inverts.
Which was brilliant.
Gordon and Barnes underneath the main striker, which was Callum Wilson today, but in a good day,
go in and out.
That's Alexander Isak at the top end of the pitch.
Yeah.
The back three, they're happy to spread and go man for man. I thought they controlled the game. I thought they had the better chances. Both goalkeepers had a bit of work to do.
Good saves from the goalies.
First off, both Raya came up with a couple, and so did Pope. But I thought Newcastle looked excellent in the first half, and you went maybe a little stronger than I would have. But you were dead right in that. It was a bit sloppy from Arsenal.
Yeah.
They weren't quite at the races, and I don't know if it was one of them days where it's been a long season, we're out of the Champions League.
I think that's what they look like. They look like, have we really got a step? This is the same last weekend. It's Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
You know, they're super uber sloppy. You know, okay then. And then when they get the energy, and they got the energy at half time of the manager.
Yeah.
He needed to kick him up the backside again. They come out a different team, a different new energy. On the back of that, though, I was still a little disappointed with Newcastle. They were so good in the first half, and a little increase in energy from Arsenal had them.
You went a bit deeper.
A little bit deeper and less progressive and less controlling. I mean, tactically with Eddie Howe in the last 2 weeks, he's done a great job.
Yeah,
Chelsea
changed
the system.
It's worked well. I think that's food for thought, though, Rob. I think for Eddie, he'll be looking at during the summer and seeing a different way. Maybe against some of the bigger clubs, he can go and put that out where we might not have, control the ball in a different way when we're not being able to go 100 mile an hour.
And when you haven't got Joelinton in the midfield three.
Yeah. That
and he's not fully trusting Lewis Miley and Longstaff and Willock. He just played the two of them.
Yeah, he played
and
Tonali
those two
and Bruno. And then he's got
really good.
Side, hasn't he? Yeah.
And I like what Livramento did.
Comes in on the left.
Yeah. So he's a wing back.
Well last week.
And he sneaks in, and nobody's really ready for that.
No.
And he pops up on the ball.
He picks up great
and
positions.
that's a pain in the... If you're in the centre midfield of Arsenal...
And then he can feed it into Gordon, he can feed it into Barnes.
Yeah,
and
they really did well.
So
that worked well. But the game was decided by Declan Rice, Rob, with a brilliant strike outside the box.
Declan Rice, my friend.
I think in the last couple of 2 or 3 games, he's after the Real Madrid game, he's been a little down.
He has. I just think emotionally, I think he felt
He said it after an interview. He admitted that, it's been a bit difficult. It's not been good enough.
We've had to pick ourselves up, and we did.
I thought we saw it. But when they needed to, they stepped it up. That's a big win for them. That basically guarantees second place.
The big call's going to be for him, Rob, and I think we touched on it a few weeks ago. Is Declan Rice your 6 or is Declan Rice your 8? I see enough in him that he could be my 8. But I think in a really top team, he can be the 6.
Yeah, because I think there's better 8s out there.
Yeah. And
I think
he can still do a bit of, Rodri now and then breaks forward and does
so does
a bit.
Gravenberch, by the way. Ryan Gravenberch does as well.
Who we're saying are the best in the league at doing that role. You get a great 6 with defensive things, size, can play. You get then an 8 and an Odegaard. A real...
I think he can be a great 6 and a good 8.
Yeah.
And in this team right now, when you've got Partey to play the 6, I kind of get it. The left side of midfield is still a bit of a problem.
But if we're going to upgrade, Rob, if we're going to go toe to toe with the Man Cities or the Liverpools or
get a left-sided number 8 attacking midfield player and that striker that they want. I don't know. I mean, you could say that left wing more important to have an upgrade on Martinelli or an option, or as a number 8.
I'd take an 8 because I think Chelsea can do me a job out there if need be. We've got one area who can come into the team and do me a job out there.
A striker and an 8 more than a striker and a winger.
For me, an 8, a goal scoring, creative.
Saka look a little tired.
He did, and you know what? With him, Rob, he plays so many games. He's had the injury.
Yeah, and long time out.
We've all had long injuries, and for the first two or three games, you're flying everywhere. You're just glad to be back. And all of a sudden, your body just goes.
Well, just think about how long that is. 3 months. Yeah. That's like long. That's past the summer.
It's 15 games.
That's a long time for your body not to be at that level. So it's like having a whole summer off and coming back.
Come back you're on enthusiasm and everything.
Yeah, with no pre-season, it's like, isn't it?
And then you drop off. He'll do well to have a good summer, get some rest. No European tournaments.
No, nothing, have they? Yeah,
nothing. So we can have some summer rest. Come back sharp as a button again. Yeah. He's one of your most important players, ready to go again. So,
but it looks like they're going to finish second, Arsenal.
Yeah,
looks like they are going to finish second.
And it's important. And I think, Rob, I meant to say it on the show today when I was doing my notes. They've been the second best team in the league.
Yeah, they have.
They've been the second best team in the league
without having all the key players.
Yeah, without having all there. They were the only ones who really challenged Liverpool. Nobody else did.
Yeah, and it wasn't. It wasn't
people
amazing.
have caught them up now because it wasn't amazing, but they were the second best team. So I think it was important they finished second.
Yeah, and I still would say that's a good season for Arsenal. No, yeah, you can have a little think, right? They got to the semi-final of the League Cup, and they got the semi-final of the Champions League, and again, that's the argument about the injuries and stuff. They had key players out, and they finished second in the Premier League. I mean, I'd still say it's obviously not a great season, but it's not a bad season to finish second behind.
I still don't. For me, that regression or progression, it wasn't regression.
No,
not based on the facts that you know and the people who were injured. If all the people are available and Havertz doesn't go down and you don't and you finish third or go down, then that's regression.
Well, and also regression literally means if people feel that Arsenal are regressing, so next season they're going to go down further then. So next season they'll be like struggling to get in the top if they're regressing.
Third or fourth,
and I don't feel that's where they're going to be at. So, yeah, I mean, not the season that they wanted.
No.
But they still went a long way in competitions.
By the way, absolutely huge summer, mate. The summer for them makes or breaks whether this is a team that goes on and can start to win or questions about the team and about the manager.
And whether somebody else might do a better job.
Correct.
Let's not forget, Miles, Lewis, Skelly, Ethan Ranieri from the academy are going to make that first team stronger. Goalkeeper's great, really, really good. Defensive, tons of options, fullback options.
Kivior's earned his stripes a little bit as well.
Yeah,
a bit more. Yeah, it's a bit safe. I know he's not your. But I don't mind Kivior.
Because Gabriel's has been so good.
But there's a better confidence to him now, and I think there's more trust from his teammates.
To be fair, he's had a run of games which he probably has enjoyed having.
And so, at least like as a backup now, I wouldn't worry if one day.
Not so much, no.
He goes with him.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of covering the both fullback positions.
Really good covering fullbacks.
Midfield, bit of a conundrum. Got to work that out.
Is Havertz going to be a midfield player, or is he going to be another striker?
What's going to happen with Partey? Are they talking about they're going to keep him?
They're trying to extend him, but midfield is a bit of a question mark, and we all know what needs to be done up front with a new striker. Yeah. So that's
it, isn't it?
An 8 and a 9.
An 8 and a 9, and then
it looks pretty good.
Ready to cook, mate.
Yeah, I think so.
Ready to cook.
Yeah. All right, what's that? So that leaves us with a look at the table, mate. Let's have a little look at the table and see where we're at going into the last couple of games now. As I look at it right now, everybody's on 37 in that area, apart from Man City, Rob. Tuesday they play Bournemouth at home and they play Fulham away. Yeah. Not easy, either of those. Nottingham Forest have Chelsea at home on the last game of the season to get to 68 points. Yeah. Aston Villa have Man United away to get to 69 if they win it.
Win Villa.
So we think, let's do it. That's right.
Aston Villa beat Man United because Man United be coming off the Europa, either disappointed from the Europa League or still drinking and celebrating.
So, all right, let's do that then. Forest at home against Chelsea.
Forest beat Chelsea at home. I've said it from day one.
Wow. So
I said if Forest can get to the last day of the season, they'll beat Chelsea.
So if that's the case, Chelsea are out because Forest will be on 68. Man City.
Yeah, Man City. Well, Man City. I think Man City will get 4 points from 6.
69. Chelsea are going to finish on 66, you said. Newcastle United versus Everton at home. They're on 66 points. Everton at home. At least a point. You think?
At home? Newcastle's day was today, wasn't it?
69 in.
Goodison Park.
So, that leaves us with this result. That Chelsea are out and Nottingham Forest are out.
68?
Yeah.
Oh, because Man City.
Yeah. You said 4 points, but it's on 69.
So Man City have got to lose one of those two games to give Chelsea a chance.
Or Villa, if they draw, if they don't beat Man United at Old Trafford, Forest go ahead of them.
No, they don't, because there's goal difference, isn't it? What's the goal difference?
Oh, no, if they draw, it's 67 points. Yeah. 67 points, Villa, and they are 68 Forest. Yeah. So Villa have to win at Old Trafford.
Villa have to win.
If Forest win. I mean, it's great, isn't it?
Oh, listen.
I mean, this is what we want going into last.
It's brilliant. We're in the last game of the season, and there's 5 teams for 3 places. And none of them guaranteed.
None of them guaranteed. And I'm not changing my pick. What was your pick earlier on? My pick to lose out was Forest and Chelsea.
No,
and you've stuck with Forest, haven't you, since day
Forest
one?
In. I've had Chelsea and Villa to I had.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
Might be wrong. Yeah.
What else we got?
We've got Everton 2, Southampton 0. We had
Park.
the final day
Goodison
at Goodison Park, my friend. And I'm not an Everton fan. I like the club. I've got friends who've played there, friends who are big fans of it. But it was an emotional day, mate, wasn't it? We played there. We know the football club. We've been opposition players. We've been in the other dressing room. We've seen what it's about. I remember one of the things that stands out for me at Everton is we went there one night at Wimbledon. It was in the League Cup. I ended up beating them 2-0, 3-1, something. We beat them in the League Cup. And a Tuesday night, we got applauded off by the Everton fans.
Ah.
Like, almost like appreciating like who we were, what we'd done, and that was one of the things that always stuck about Everton. Like, there's an honesty,
an appreciation
about giving your best and
maybe
working
hard-working, honest football.
Yeah, and listen, by the way, they produced some talent. By the way, we only saw the former players.
Yeah.
Going back from the Alan Balls through to the Wayne Rooneys and everything in between. They've had some brilliant, and had some brilliant teams under the Howard Kendall team, mate.
In the 80s.
That I grew up with, yeah.
Let's remind everybody of the data and fact here. They won 9 English League titles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up there.
Proper, yeah.
It's right up there. And
numbers,
they were early, really early. But that's the history. And like I said, Howard Kendall's team, the stand's named after him, the Gladys Street end's named after him. And we saw the players there, the managers there. It was great. It was great atmosphere, great occasion. It's special, isn't it? For so many grown adults were tears in their eyes, thinking that's been their life.
Yeah.
Probably from a very young age.
I was trying to think when we were doing it, and Paul was asking us about thoughts, and I was trying to think of like maybe a viewer who hasn't been to the ground, or maybe a viewer who doesn't quite get the football thing. I was trying to think of it in a more sort of basic way, and I kind of felt like it's like having your family home you brought your kids in, and you've been in there for 50 years, and then you move to a new apartment. The apartment's new and got all the bits and pieces, but the home's where you bought
the
emotion,
history and the spirit and
the feel and the smell and the touch. You don't ever get back when you go somewhere new.
And also when we got the aerial shots of Goodison Park with the housing around it, there's a ton of terraced houses which are very small.
Does that happen in the US? Are stadiums in those kind of areas much in the US?
I think there's 2 or 3 that might be up in the north or something. Like stadiums were more downtown. Not many of them now. Same thing where they've gone out of town a little bit. I just think, Rob, when you got that arena right there, and all the families in those little houses that don't do amazing in terms of finances and the economy, they're your working class people, and they go to that. They go up the steps of that Goodison Park every weekend, and they see this amazing spectacle. Yeah. Gosh, and that's powerful. Like it was for me when I went to my club was Oxford United, Rob, a tiny little club. But when I used to go there with my brother, and we walk up those steps and see this beautiful green pitch with these guys knocking the ball. It was a special moment, and when you saw it from the top there, it's like, wow, that's what they've got used to.
It's the key of the community,
the cathedral.
It's the most integral thing of the community.
And they all go there and enjoy that once a week. So, but it's still, of course, going to exist. The club is still going to exist.
Yeah, the ladies' team are going to play there, which is great in some respects. People can still visit if they want to go over, and obviously the 2 stadiums.
It's good that they won, isn't it? It's
great
nice
that they won. And it was kind of just on a looking forward with David Moyes. Is he figuring things out, Rob? Like between now and like today was a great game, and Jai got a couple of goals. But we see a couple of people. Beto starts. Jakure came off. We know Ashley Young's leaving. Yeah. A lot of players. I think 13 players.
13 out of contract. Some on loan. Yeah.
And some next. Is he starting to work out? David Moyes hasn't taken this club and got the move to fight to stay in the league. David Moyes has got bigger ambitions for this club.
Yeah. Well, first off, quickly on the football, they're such a different team now. The vibe of the team is so different than it was under Sean Dyche. It's kind of remarkable. Back to your point of him looking a little bit higher. There's a lot of newness, new owners, new club, new stadium. There's new CEO. There's new recruitment. The manager's kind of new. Moyes going back in there, and all these. So there's a lot of change going on. All I would say is that. And I think he obviously knows this. Got to be a little bit careful what they do. Don't try and get rid of too many players. Imagine if like 3/4 of the team is different. Yeah. You're going into this Premier League where it's so difficult. And you know,
know-how,
you got to have. So I think it will be more gradual than maybe what we expect. I might be wrong. Maybe there's going to be a turnover of 8 going out and 8 coming in. But I just think they've got to be a little bit careful. He's got the team playing really well. To that point, my underappreciated, is it Iliman Ndiaye, the new player that came in from Marseille, $19 million it was. He wanted to go and play for Marseille, didn't work out. He comes in for a good fee. He's mid-20s, he's a good age. And I remember when he first came in there, Rob, and we picked him straight away. It's like, wow, he looks bright. He's really smart today, played on the left-hand side, rolled infield like so many players in the Premier League are doing now, getting those little spaces, he gets the goal and stuff like that. So I think he's a little underappreciated by, and I'm not talking about Everton, and the fans I know appreciate him, but just in the Premier League in general.
He's a wide player who could be
the way he took his goal, mate. To slot that in with his left foot and stuff was really, really good. And I just think he's I won't say a top talent, but he's really good for Everton. He's something different to what they've had, which is steady.
I think it's a good point. I think he's the level of player that Moyes is going to want to have.
Yeah.
He can play a bit under Moyes. He'll have to do his defensive work as well.
Yeah,
but he'll give him a bit of freedom to go and express himself.
And I'm not sure he's ever going to be the guy. Might be wrong. That's going to be courted by your Arsenals and your Liverpools and your
in some
Chelseas
respects,
and stuff.
Rob,
But that's good for them.
What
isn't it?
I'm saying is, he's a step up from Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison works really hard and puts the ball in, but Ndiaye's the next level.
He's got more quality.
Got a bit level, hasn't
that's
he?
the
and
type
that's
of
where
player they've
he's
got
going
to
to
try
go.
and get.
Yeah, the next level of what they've got.
Yeah.
Because I thought the football was good today. And,
It's good football.
Big Beto, I don't know how we're going to go with the big lad at the top of the pitch. He's got 8 Premier League goals. He can look $1 million, or he can look.
I'd keep him.
Yeah. So DCL. So it looks like Dominic Calvert-Lewin then.
Yeah.
You'd move him on.
Yeah, I do.
And keep one.
I do. They need somebody else up there. And there's talk. Well, you remember him saying about Liam Delap. Well, we like him if he likes us, type of thing. Yeah. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm sure he's on big wages, Rob, from what he's done in the past. I just don't know whether you can keep trying on a player that's had
you keep remembering the goals and the good times and the leaps and the
missed
England
so many
call-ups,
games.
but I know
Just
just
I don't know.
unbelievably not doable.
Lots to sort out for David Moyes, but I tell you, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're going to be Premier League side in that lovely new stadium. Funny old name, though, isn't it? What was it? Hill Dickinson.
The Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's going to take a bit.
It's not
Goodison Park.
Doesn't really roll
it's
off
not Goodison Park, is it?
I'm going to miss saying Goodison Park.
Yeah, come on, Hill Dickinson. You've got a bit of work to do. 133 years.
Big atmosphere at Hill Dickinson.
Yeah. Come on we go. The Z cars at the Hill Dickinson.
The Z cars.
Let me chuck one at you, my friend.
Let
me chuck one at you. David Moyes needs strikers.
Have you got one for me?
200 goals last game today. He's leaving his football club.
Jamie Vardy.
To
Everton.
Year with a year option. Let's take a good look at him. He still knows where the net is.
Big salary, half retainer, half on appearance.
Correct.
He's going to enjoy play.
Everton fans would love him. Everton fans would love what he gives and how he is. I think if you said to him 18, 20 games a season, Jamie.
Yeah, we want a sharp Jamie.
Yeah, some games you'll rest. Other days, when you play teams that you have more possession, create chances. Jamie Vardy can get you 2 or 3 goals those days to get you 3 points.
It's not really trendy right now, is it, to buy these older players that are little.
But David Moyes is smart and he's experienced enough to look at it and go.
It's a bit like the De Bruyne to Arsenal. How about just coming here and.
Yeah, I know it's not fashionable. Everybody's now got the scouting network and they're picking
the data and all that, the young kids and stuff.
The data that I like with Jamie Vardy, 200 goals, mate. 200 goals in 30 years. That's the data I love. Should we talk quickly about Vardy? Because Leicester 2 Ipswich Town, his last game
today for Leicester City.
500 games, 200 goals.
Amazing.
I mean, perfect timing. I mean, he says he's not going to play the last game at Bournemouth, and we're all thinking, 199 goals, what if he doesn't score?
He's got it.
Typical Vardy.
And we had the game on the back of the studio. He had chances before that. He had two good looks before that.
He talked about
and that's the whole point with him, isn't it?
Yeah.
He runs in behind. Well, how many strikers now running behind, love running in behind? There aren't many of them.
Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah. Ollie Watkins, maybe. Yeah, so what a career, though.
Wow.
What? And by the way, about his loyalty, is that underestimated a little bit? Remember Arsenal came in for him?
Arsenal came in for him,
right after they won it, wasn't it? Or the season after that?
I think
right after it.
We were having the discussion, weren't we, as the game was finishing, and saying, he's not underappreciated because I think people understand where he's come from, what he's done in the goal.
We did have this little chat,
but if he was at a big six club scoring those kind of goals and doing stuff in Europe, would he have a bit bigger...
bit more gravitas in
the game,
in the
standing
respect
in the game.
I'm sure the respect is there, mate. Of course we know what he's done.
Correct,
He's a champion and all that.
Yeah.
But is he an even better player than he's given credit for?
Yeah. People just talk about the runs over the top, and they got it up
and he got a champ. You won the Premier League title. He's very important.
He's got brilliant.
Consistent goal scorer.
Brilliant penalty box IQ. Look how many times he's not offside. Look how many times he's making a run away from a defender.
Yeah.
Look, his understanding of where
even the goal
things
today.
are. Yeah, he makes a
an
little run and then
little
hits
strike
it across
the goalie.
He knows he doesn't have to hit hard. He's just got to find a way in.
No, what a career. He should have a statue. Should have a statue outside King Power.
Yeah, I'll start that off $10.
I mean, if you want to like appreciate and have respect for your former players, I don't know how it gets any better.
Came from
Jamie
non-league football.
I don't know how it gets any better.
Non-league, like that's a level where you have a job and then you're playing on the week and you train twice a week. He came from that level to being one of the top 15, 20 goal scorers in the Premier League.
The Premier League champion, the best player the Leicester City's ever had.
Yeah, scored in
Statue
11
outside.
straight goals. Premier League record still continues.
Golden boot after the oldest player to have a golden boot at 33, I think it was as well. I mean, amazing. Statue. James Vardy.
Starting it off.
Sir James, in fact.
Oh, no, stop. Time to stop. Well.
What else we got? Is that it? Brentford 2, Fulham 3. I mean, 2 teams that have had a great season.
Yeah.
Fulham, I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get each week, but they rebounded from last week. I think they lost last
Fulham
week.
in the 10th in the table, mate.
10th.
It looks unlikely now,
points.
doesn't it, that 8th is going to be a European spot. I think because Palace didn't win the final, because Palace beat City in the final. It looks like 8th now is not going to be a thing. So for some of those teams who were hoping to get maybe 8th spot, I don't think that's going to happen. But also from Brentford's point of view as well, mate. 2 goal scorers today again, and Burma and Wissa, both on 19 Premier League goals. I mean, he might be a tidy little pickup for somebody. Well, the pair of them.
Brian and Burma.
Brian and Burma, yeah.
I mean, I think
because of his age,
I think they all think he's going to go. He's mid-20s, 26,
I
I
heard
think.
somebody else, one of the players, saying the other week, Brian might be time that Brian makes a move.
Not anybody. Some players, Rob, can have a 15, 20 goal season.
Yeah, and then you don't see.
Then you don't see him again. Or the next season, he's now proven it. I think that's at least three seasons of really good numbers.
From a wide position as well, often from that left-hand side. That's golden, isn't it?
So I think he's probably going to go somewhere. There's a lot of people like a goal-scoring winger.
Yeah.
That's kind of the.
Where's the fit? Have we got any?
Well, yeah, look, go down the table.
Any fits?
I mean, Arsenal, they got a good right winger in Saka.
Not sure he quite fits Arsenal.
Newcastle United, there you go. And they've been rumoured.
Yeah, Newcastle.
Right side.
Yeah.
They've got Jacob Murphy right now.
Yeah. He's
an
been
upgrade.
productive, 8 and 12. 8 goals, 12.
I'm not sure Chelsea need another winger.
No.
I'm not sure Villa
now because of what they've got.
Yeah,
City
I think
now.
that's it. I think that's it. Newcastle United. I mean, Villa might. Tottenham. Sorry, I'm not looking that far down.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay. Yeah.
My friend.
Man United, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
2 couple of seasons.
Yeah, why not? Is that it, mate? We got anything else? Is that all the games?
It looks like that's pretty much it for this weekend, mate. We've got one more week of Premier League football to go.
What are we going to do?
Sunday, we are going to go to Anfield next weekend.
Oh, man, that's going to be great.
We're going to see them lift the trophy.
We're going
to be pitchside. We'll get a feel of how things are. We'll try and get a few people at the desk. And
we'll try and do a poddy after. We're going to try and do a little pod
that's
afterwards.
Exactly what we're going to try and do. Even if it's just 15, 20 minutes, something, let's bang something out.
There's a couple
and
more
obviously
games
there'll be
coming
the Europa League game, won't
there?
So we've got games Monday and Tuesday of this week. And then these games, the Europa League on Wednesday, which is a fascinating watch. You must watch TV. Up to the weekend. So it was a penultimate weekend in the Premier League where Rice was pretty nice for Arsenal. Vardy got his 200th goal and is out for Leicester. While Nottingham Forest keep the Champions League hope alive with a win at West Ham. We'll be back next Sunday, as we've said, from pitchside at Anfield, where we'll see Liverpool lift the trophy and try and get a few players to our desk. A quick podcast after that. But for now, I'm Earle. He's Mustoe. Together with the 2 Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe. Stay healthy. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good
night.